Welcome back everyone for another Evertale Should You Summon video. So today we're going to be looking at the new Bride, or I guess Stun Jeanne arc. So I'm splitting this into 3 videos. First is going to be the Should You Summon, which is this video. Next one is the actual summoning, because I'm planning on summoning a good amount of her. I'm pretty much going to summon on her for like all my accounts, and I'm going to, except for my Burn Crisis team, and then I'm gonna be fully awakening her on my survival team. And then the third video is gonna be just gameplay footage of her on different teams. So for this video, the Should You Summon, let's get into it. So just looking at her kit, so she has attack and stealth. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's good. It gives you 2 spirit attacks and it gives a stealth, so it's pretty solid. Helps gain stealth. I don't know how much she's gonna be actually using it because of her other skills, but gaining stealth, like it couldn't hurt. It's always nice. And 2 spirit's a pretty good amount. Healing rage is like Dark Jeanne arc's ability, which is Dark Jeanne arc's already like way up there in like a tier list, partially because of her healing rage. It's really good. It heals, it gives spirit, it enrages, so it's all very, very good. You can pretty much just spam it whenever she's not at full HP, which is, it's pretty easy to do, and it's a really good way to sustain, gain spirit, and gain more attack. It's overall, like, I think definitely one of the best or better skills in the game in general. Survivor Stun stuns for 125 unless her survivor thing's unlocked, which unlocks after 300, I believe. Yeah. So Survivor Stun, it's really good in the sense of it uses 0 spirit. Like, typically stun is so powerful that it's usually the theme goes, usually it costs 3 spirit, which is a good amount. Like, it's a lot to stun a unit because TU is so important in this game and it's really powerful, and being able to stun for 0 is amazing. On top of that, usually the way stun works is you stun something for like maybe 100 or 200, and then it's locked for another amount of time, set period, before you can use it again. That way you can't like constantly be spamming that stun, or it's like a lesser stun where it's like stuns for a little bit but it has some sort of high cost, or it uses like a sacrifice. So Survivor Stun, you can actually spam this because the TU is less than how much it stuns the enemy for. So this is really good. This is amazing. Like, you can essentially just delete 1 unit until her survivor judgment unlocks, which is really, really powerful. And it could be really useful in stun teams, and just pretty much in almost any team that doesn't resist stun, so just crisis and burn units. But yeah, it's a really, really powerful move. And yeah, the only downside is it's only usable before survivor judgment happens. So once you get survivor judgment, I'm assuming you're not going to be able to use it anymore. But by then, you're probably going to be spamming survivor judgment and healing range and alternating between the 2. And so going on to survivor judgment, it's essentially a survivor fury that hits 2 units, ignores stealth and damage reduction, and it gives endure, which is, all of that is really, really crazy. Like, on top of her healing rage, if you enrage on top of 500% damage to 2 enemies, it's essentially kind of like what Dark Jeanne arc's doing. And again, she's up there in tier list, but on top of that, she gains endure, which is essentially a one-time use hold ground, and being able to ignore stealth is very, very big because stealth units are just kind of crazy and kind of rampant everywhere. So this could essentially be a very good stealth counter. And as well as damage reduction. I feel like you don't really see damage reduction as much anymore nowadays. Like, barriers they're there, but they're not like, it's mainly guards you see more than barriers or damage reductions. Because like, Crisis and Burn and armor stuff aren't as popular recently. And then, yeah. So then let's look at her passives. Her passive, Micaiah's Revenge. This is crazy. Like, this is so crazy. So, whenever a non-ally unit dies, she will summon Micaiah. And it's essentially, it's so powerful. It's so crazy. It's such power creep. Because I remember before, the only other thing that had like a revenge passive like this that was close to it was Minion Revenge, where anytime or pretty much any character, hero unit, non-Cadre thing got killed, then you get a minion, which is like a Mori, which is just like a one-hit auto guard that's just like a one-time use, and that's nothing compared to Micaiah. Like, you actually get essentially another SSR unit whenever another unit dies. So it could be so annoying. It could be it could be really, really good. And yeah, it could be so annoying to deal with, especially since Micaiah is she's actually really powerful. Like, typically, like for Joan of Arc, her theme is actually I'll get to that later. I'll get to that, like, comparing. Okay, so you have Divine Immobility, which is essentially like immobile, where you can't get pushed back but power crept. So it's you get healed when you take damage. And the other part is if you enter into the battle, which sounds like if you get into it, like you're the 5th one and you enter as a reinforcement, she will get her first endure, which is really good. And essentially it's like the temporary hold ground. And the way that this works, I think it kind of wants you to not have her in the first 4, and she want her as a reinforcement so that she can trigger this endure, so that she can survive on 1 HP, just like kind of have as a safety net until Survivor Judgment unlocks. But I wouldn't say this is like a hard cap where like she needs to be in reinforcements, because of Micaiah, like herself, that she summons, like if a ally dies. So you're probably, if you do have her first 4, you're probably gonna want her with some sort of guard, so that when the guard does die, she can summon Michaela. Okay, so looking at her kit, she has attack, which is, again, it's probably not for the killing anyone really, but gains 2 spirit, which is good. Purify Heal, that's great. That's amazing. That's really, really powerful in the sense of it's really low TU. 50 is like really fast, and it doesn't cost anything. It's 0. So like typically Purify Heal, I'm thinking like Fire Colin or like Earth Blood, and both of those use like 1 or 2 spirit to purify heal, because yeah, it just purifies and heals. Like it's really good, especially with units that have hold ground and are on that 1 HP and they just need a little bit more, and then they can essentially have another turn that they can survive on their hold ground. So Purify Heal is just overall solid, really good, and having it cost 0 spirit is just, it's amazing. It's so good. And Time Drain Raid is essentially, it combines with Joan of Arc's stun ability and if you want to pair her with other stun units, it's really good. Again, like 500 to 600% damage, ignores damage reduction, and completely heals the user. That's just a whole lot of power creep for really cheap, and for 100 TU. That's pretty fast. That's the same TU as a normal attack. So that's really good. And then Holy Revival, just kidding, because Unholy was Dark Jonah Arc. Holy Revival revives, like, if Jonah Arc did die, it will give you another one. And it will be next to inline reinforcements with full HP, and exchanges the target with her. So essentially, it's kind of like well, it's kind of like the normal Guardian summon with normal Jonah Arc, or like Jonah Arc, where instead of like sending the ally all the way to the back, which is like normal like Jonah Arc's thing, which honestly it kind of sucked, and it kind of ruined a lot of things. This is more like Ray's summon Shikigami, where it kind of just pulls back next in line instead of banishes it all the way to the back, which is actually really, really good, because this can also synergize with a lot of other units that I'm gonna kind of like showcase in my gameplay video. Like, you could use this to reset Bride Ludmilla's like I forget what it's called, like shield all, and like it makes her unkillable. Like, you can essentially reset that move. You can reset Light Mirai and her Song of Purification, or Song of Regeneration. Yeah, I think it was a Regeneration. And like, you can reset Haku and all her ink command skills and stuff. Like, being able to pull back a ally, or you can like use it for like stun entry allies that like you want to pull them back so that they can trigger like Storm Rolatia's stun entry, or Merlin's stun time drain thing. But yeah, like, it has a lot of potential, and it has a lot of combinations that aren't just pull back. It actually revives Jonah Arc as well. It's probably like, you're not expecting or wanting your Jonah Arc to die, so it's not as, I'd say, like consistent probably, or reliable compared to Ray's summoning skill. But I think it's really good that essentially both Jonah Arc and Michaela can summon each other if one or the other dies, which is, I think, the first and just Evertail in general. Because I don't know. Comparison later. Okay. And then for Angelic Guard entry, this is when she comes in, when she ally dies, when normal Jonah Arc's on the field. Someone dies, she comes in, she automatically becomes a guard, and the really good thing about this is that she essentially gets a hold ground plus, where she becomes unkillable until she gets her first turn. So this means she's gonna be a guard that will just tank all the hits, and you can't kill her until she finally takes her first turn. And she's actually really slow. Her speed is 41, so that means she can take more hits and take more damage with a guarantee like survival before she acts, which is actually it's really good. And her entry, Angelic Shock entry, stuns the current highest TU for 200. And also, if Jonah Arcs, like, she has a poison, like, it removes the poison, gives her a ward for poison, and it triggers a Endure, which helps her normal Jonah Arc, or this one, Storm Jonah Arc, to survive for longer. So just between the two, like, even if you have Jonah Arc in the first 4, if you have a guard that dies first, you don't necessarily need to worry about that Endure, because Michaela will give Endure with Angelic Shock entry. or that's the way I'm reading it anyways. So yeah, I think they're gonna be very, very good and just pretty kind of broken almost. Like again, this is just power creep in Evertail in general as of lately. So comparing units, I'm just gonna compare the other Jonah arcs, because so on this one I have the other two. I just don't have the Valentine one that's on my sleep team. But yeah, comparing the two, Guardian Angel is a one-time thing, sends it all the way to the back, which again typically isn't that good, and it's usable only once per battle, where she can summon and a movable, again, got power crept. Hold ground actually would be better than endure, but again, if you were to put on hold ground, I think that'd just be way too power crept. Like, they have to do endure to like make her able to die. Yeah, like you need to be able to make her to die, because she gets healed when she gets hit, and that endures just to make her able to die. And then so yeah, I think Storm one's definitely better. You can spam the summons, you can spam it back and forth so that they summon each other. This Michaela doesn't summon Jonah Arc. Again, this is like the very first one that came out, so it's definitely outdated and just kind of power crept in general. And so yeah, and for Dark Jonah Arc, which is again currently one of the best units in the game, very similar, has Healing Rage, has Survivor Fury as well, like the same one, but it's not as good because Storm Jonah Arcs also gives the Endure, as well as ignores the stealth, and also ignores the damage reduction as well. So again, power creep. And Michaela's Revenge, it's only like if Jonah Arc dies versus if allies die. Oh yeah, and another part about Unholy Revival versus Holy Revival is Unholy Revival, you actually have to wait, and it's locked for 200 after they enter. But the new unit, I don't think there's any restriction. Like, you can just summon her right away after. Where is it? Yeah, Holy Revival. Revives conjured. It's usable if you have one or more. Yeah, so you don't have to wait. A lot of the time where Dark Jonah Arc, like, she almost seems like unkillable with her unholy revival, and it just keeps going back and forth, where like she just keeps summoning herself. But where she usually just can't do it is if she doesn't have enough spirit, or she ends up like she doesn't unlock it fast enough. So with Holy Revival, that's really good, where she can just do it right away immediately, and she doesn't have to really worry as much about not having it up in time, especially with her ability to survive any hit until she gets a turn because of her angelic guard entry. So again, really, really powerful. And the last one I'm just gonna compare is, I guess, the last Jonah Arc, which is the Valentine's. Let's see where she is. Yeah, just for the sake of comparing them, she is just kind of completely different. She's definitely more sleep team oriented, but I think the only way that the way that she kind of overlaps is you can actually summon both her and Michaela at the same time, just because of how they synergize and how they work with the Twin Guardian and the where is it? Angelic Sleep, where they exchange out. So my opinion, like Storm, Joan Arc is kind of like a combination of all of them with power creep added in, and just like with the current meta, like it's there's just a lot of power creep. Okay, and then in terms of teams and teammates and summoning, I think for the teams that honestly, I think she can kind of go on any team. Like you have stun, you have a little, it's not quite stealth attack with survivor judgment because it's very close to it. The only thing that it's not getting past is the revenge passes and skin passives, but it gets past the damage reduction and it gets past the stealth, which is getting past the stealth is arguably better or like more important because it hits 2, and we just kind of need it a little bit more because of how powerful stealth teams are currently. In terms of teams, like why I'm summoning for her on like all my like accounts other than my Crisis Burn team, I'm summoning for her on the stealth team because again, it kind of works like a stealth, plus she gains stealth as well. So I think that could go well together. Plus, like she summons an unkillable guard when an ally dies. So that's also very good. Like it's an unkillable guard at least for until she gets her first turn. So yeah, I'm summoning for her on the stealth team pretty much for the ability, her survivor judgment, her stunning ability, and essentially for her ability to summon a guard and just go back and forth. And then for the survivor team, I'm summoning for her like obviously for survivor judgment, stun, stalling, all that good stuff. Like it's pretty much like one of her biggest things is she's very hard to kill. It can be super annoying, and it's probably going to be great if you have her, and really annoying to fight against. And then poison team, I'm summoning for her mainly because like poison stun, I have somewhat of a poison stun going on, and they've been like synergized well together. Poison stun since like the very beginning of Evertail before 2.0. It was like poison stun they just mesh really well together, since stuns usually resisted or immune by burn teams, but poison can get rid of the burn and yada yada, that stuff. Overdrive, because healing rage, she can I feel like she has a lot of things that she can gain spirit, and her moves that just cost 0 spirit as well, and the ones that do cost spirit, I think they're definitely worth it. And in terms of sleep team, I'm summoning for her because again she has the stun, as well as Micaiah's possible like pullback thing to synergize with other sleep entry, dream entry, stun entry stuff. A lot of good stuff. Like I think in terms of should you summon, I think if you have the soul stones, I think she can fit into like almost any team. Like I think she's definitely power crept, very solid unit. If you're low on soul stones, maybe hold off for a bit, but if you have them, I would definitely summon. I will be fully awakening her on my survivor account, more so because like one, she's like definitely for survivor, and I also have like 547k soul stones, so I definitely have a good amount that I can probably, yeah, I can fully awaken her like fairly comfortably compared to my other accounts. So that's gonna be it for the should you summon video. I will be posting a actual summoning video after this, and after that I'll be doing the gameplay video. So be on the lookout for that. Thanks for watching, everybody. Subscribe if you can, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye.